Hi all, and welcome back to the neighborhood. We have a bit of a new look for the channel. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. I love to interact with you all and keep up with the community. In any case, today we're taking a look at the brand new TRN Kirin. This is yet another planar magnetic IEM which comes in to compete around the $100 to $250 price point. But priced at approximately $130, at the moment, this is the most affordable planar in-ear monitor on the market right now. That is, until the 7Hz SoundNotes Diaco comes out at $99. So at its price, can the Kirin even keep up with the others? Let's get into it. So while this is currently the cheapest planar IEM on the market right now, to my knowledge, its package overall would not suggest it. That is, again, ignoring the upcoming 7Hz SoundNotes Diaco for now. The Kirin also comes with a number of tips and accessories, including a carrying tin, a set of medium foams, a set of medium clear silicone ear tips with a white bore, a full set of black silicone ear tips in small, medium, and large, a full set of clear silicone ear tips also in small, medium, and large sizes, 3 sets of screw-on tuning nozzles, a 3.5mm to 6.35mm adapter, an 8-core silver-plated OFC copper cable with swappable non-angled terminations, including a 3.5mm unbalanced termination, and both 4.4mm and 2.5mm balanced terminations. The cable itself isn't the thickest weave in the world, but it feels nice in the hand, ravels and unravels rather easily, and has a nice clear bead as a chin slider. The cable itself is a C-pin connection and affixes to the C-pin protrusion on the shell of the IEM itself. The shell consists of an ergonomic CNC machined magnesium alloy housing with pressure relief vents. The faceplate appears to be a holed, thicker black plastic construction, and I'm not sure if these are open back or not, or if this is just a stylistic choice for the purposes of aesthetics. Inside the shell is a 14.5mm nano-grade planar magnetic driver. In terms of the acoustics, TRN promises a transparent sound with limited distortion and precise imaging, and I mostly think they actually deliver. Timbre does gleam a bit here or there, but is mostly neutral, and its note weight is only mildly lean in its delivery. One thing to note is, like a slightly over-amplified microphone, the Kirin does run slightly hot in general, and as a result might come across as too intense for some. It's not as intense as something like the KZ-ZSX, but it's definitely leaning in that direction. Furthermore, if one has ever heard a good KZ like the ZSX, with regard to the Kirin's general presentation, one might know just what I'm talking about when I say that this TRN sounds as if KZ made a good planar. Technical performance was impacted by both tip and tuning nozzle adjustments. Let me get things out of the way by saying that the reference filter was by far the best and most technical. With this nozzle, the soundstage was still above average in its scope, but the most natural sounding within its sound field. Imaging was accurate, instrument distinctiveness sufficient, and separation was pretty good. In contrast, the atmospheric nozzle resulted in some mild ringing, stretching, and some smearing across the Kirin sonics. Nevertheless, the soundstage was much bigger and atmospheric indeed, and some might be willing to sacrifice the Kirin's technical performance for a bit of fun in this way. The transparent nozzle, while transparent, also resulted in the Kirin sound field becoming largely compressed and made general sounds much more intimate to the ear. It sounded as if everything was being mic'd close up. Although images were the largest with this set of filters, the soundstage shrunk, instrument distinctiveness could be an issue depending upon the track, and separation notably suffered. With regard to ear tips, the provided black silicones resulted in an incohesive image and overall sonic picture, with the bass losing its pleasing texture and sounding pretty disparate from the rest of the mix. The singular medium clear set with the white bore, which came affixed to the IEMs when unboxed, was the most airy, but sounded somewhat inconsistent in the treble, and foams were fine, but lack the dynamics and articulation of the silicone sets. Out of the tips in the box, the all-clear set of silicones produced the best auditory outcomes to my ears and was the most even sounding and acoustically pleasing amongst them. Even so, this set still retained a bit of hotness and spicy character to its upper mid-range and treble, that while I'm sure some will enjoy, sent this reviewer upon a quest for the perfect alternative third-party ear tip for this set. I settled on Asla Sedna's elastic ear tips, as use of these ear tips curbed the spiciness just enough and added a touch of dynamics, which made this set genuinely enjoyable overall. In terms of its sound profile, the Kirin is a well-implemented V-shaped sound signature, and the elastic ear tips exploit this to the listener's advantage. Still, as already stated, the treble and upper mids are somewhat inconsistent in their presentation and may be a bit too hot or intense for some. So, those that choose to take the plunge with the Kirin should know that it can be a bit spicy up top, especially without use of elastic ear tips. With regard to the rest of the mid-range, it was relatively unremarkable, but sufficiently forward enough to my ear. What I mean by this is that I never really found myself craving additional mid-range presence from the Kirin, but the mids are nevertheless not the star of the show. Instead, this designation was reserved for the low end of the Kirin. While its low end does suffer somewhat from some notable roll-off in the low bass and sub-bass regions, the amount of rumble is still nice, and even if it's more in the background, is still present enough, without overpowering any other parts of the mix. The track FFF by Baby Rexha and G-Eazy demonstrated this character particularly well, as the low end was satisfying and well distributed. Compared to the 10 Hi-Fi P1 Max, the low end is more dynamic and with greater punch and more natural impact. So while dynamics are not stellar, as is the case with most other planar IEMs at this time, they are decent for a planar IEM overall. It's more in line with that of an advantageously driven Tri-i3 Pro. The problem with the i3 Pro is that when driven non-advantageously, the BA on that IEM seems to disengage and its low end can bloom and become somewhat incongruous, robbing that IEM of one of its greatest strengths, its cohesiveness. In contrast, the Kirin displayed greater consistency across amplification. The Kirin is more transparent than some other planars that I have in for review right now, but is influenced by the character of its amplifier to a certain extent. For example, it was smoother on the Centron Stackport HD, but more brittle in spots on the THX AAA 789 and more tactile on the Giselli Labs Archel Pro. Nevertheless, the Kirin really didn't sound bad on anything that I plugged it into, both high-powered and low-powered sources. This is in contrast to something like the Rapt Go Hook X, which really needs high output off the right source to really come alive. Obviously, the Kirin does scale somewhat with quality amplification too, but I enjoyed it off my phone, the BTR3K, and desktop sources alike. Backgrounds were black on most devices. In general, I'd recommend a warm but transparent source to get the most out of the Kirin. So, with those who obsess about graphs in mind, the Kirin won't be well tuned enough for some. You can definitely do better from a tuning perspective if one steps it up to a more expensive planar, such as the 10 Hi-Fi P1 Max, as that IEM will likely be more pleasing to the masses. Even so, there are definitely some aspects of the TRN Kirin that I prefer over other planar magnetic IEMs that are out there right now. Its transparent character and better than most dynamics stand out as traits in mind as I close this review. Still, its starker tonality won't be for everyone, and those that shy away from a KZ-like sound may want to take a pass on the Kirin. Nevertheless, there's a lot to love here in this package. Although its cable is a bit thin, it's a nice one overall, and I love the fact that it comes with adjustable terminations. But even though it adds to the total cost, I'd still recommend investing in both a set of Asla Sedna's elastic ear tips and opaquely neutral to slightly warm amplification to get the most out of the Kirin. The Kirin most likely will not claim a spot in my top IEMs from $100 to $200, but will be a great option for those that want a planar in-ear monitor around this price. We've certainly come a long way from the days of the original 10 Hi-Fi P1 planar. And before you go, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And feel free to leave a comment in the comments section below. Also consider checking out the channel at all other neighborhood access locations, including www.InToItReviews.com, Discord, Twitter, Instagram, or become a member of the Patreon. The Patreon is only $1.50 a month, and it gets you access to early written reviews like this one. And with that, I'm out for now.